Hi, I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and editor-in-chief at Cybercrime magazine. I'm here today with Ambereen Siraj, founder, Dr. Janelle Strock, chairman of the board, and Lynn Dome, executive director at WiCyS, a global community of women, male allies, and advocates dedicated to bringing talented women together to celebrate and foster their passion and drive for cybersecurity. To learn more about WiCyS, visit WiCyS.org. Welcome, Ambereen, Lynn, and Janelle. Great to have you with us today.
Thanks for having us, Steve.
Thank you, Steve, for having us.
So, Ambereen, let me start with you. We're here to talk about the WiCyS 2021 conference on September 8 to 10 in Denver. Before we get started, for anyone who isn't familiar, give us a quick overview of WiCyS, the organization you founded in 2012.
So, actually, in 2012, I reached out to National Science Foundation for a grant to start a project, part of which was doing an annual conference. And then it was awarded in 2013. 2014, we organized our first Women in Cybersecurity annual conference. And then a community was created, and it grew and grew. And in 2017, we realized the need to engage this community year long. So we established the Women in Cybersecurity organization, and it has been functioning for last 2 years from 2018.
Janelle, there's so much to talk about, but I want to zero in on the students because, for me, it's just so important. To build on what Ambereen shared, tell us what WiCyS means to the students. We have an idea because we've been in touch with students from a local university here on Long Island, Hofstra, and they're so enthusiastic about the organization. So tell us about the students.
Sure. Our student chapters is where that community begins. That's where our students start to build their community, or as I like to say, they find their tribe. This is where they really begin to connect. They find others like them. And then as they build those student chapters, they reach out to professionals and they find the WiCyS community. So they find mentors, they find others like them. We have over 100 student chapters here in the US. I think we're actually past about 120 now. We also have student chapters in other countries. And so it's where they actually can find others. They can say, gosh, this is a field I'm interested in. They can find people to work with. And then as they join the WiCyS organization, as I said, they find their mentors, they find people that they can say, this is how I want to be, this is someone I can look up to, and this is a place where I belong. So it's really the start of that community building.
So, Ambereen, the annual WiCyS conference is truly the go-to event for organizations to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity, but I know it's a lot more than that. Give us some background on the conference. When was the first one held, and how has the conference evolved since then?
So the first one was in 2014. National Science Foundation actually gave us money for do it for total 250 people over 2 years, because they were very skeptical that we wouldn't find enough folks to come to the WiCyS conference. But the first conference ended up being for 350 people, and we are doing it every year. Last year, that didn't happen. We actually had we had around 1,700 people that committed to come to the conference, but of course that didn't happen. But one thing I want to mention, Steve, is that, you mentioned students. So students and aspiring cybersecurity professionals are integral part of this conference. So this is the only conference that makes sure that half of the attendees, and that's a lot of work for us to do to maintain that ratio, that half of the attendees are always students or aspiring professionals, and this conference is accessible to them. So the conference takes care of their lodging, meals. For some of them, we also take care of their travel, and of course, due to all the sponsors that chip in, who believe in this community, who believe in diversity and inclusion.
So Lynn, Amberine touched on last year's event. We were planning to go. A lot of people were planning to go. Everybody was so disappointed. The event was canceled, like so many events, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But I was amazed. WiCyS turned around almost instantaneously, and you put on an incredible virtual event. A lot of people were talking about it. So tell us about what happened last year.
Yes, yes. So we knew COVID-19 was here in the States. I think it blindsided us, took a little bit by surprise how quickly it impacted our conference. So, and of course, the conference that takes 18 months to plan, all that emotional energy, financial, and everything that you put into a conference, is just kind of put on hold, and you're there like, what are the next steps? So we woke up the morning of March 5th saying at 9 o'clock in the morning, we met as an executive committee saying, absolutely, the conference is going to move on March 12th through the 14th. WiCyS 2020 is going to happen in Denver, Colorado. And by 3 o'clock that afternoon, the conference was no longer viable due to the tremendous amount of travel restrictions that happened that day. And so, just like all things of WiCyS, the team just kind of connected and collaborated and divided and conquered. So, a team went out to Denver. They went and assessed what of the conference is there in person, what they need to do for their next steps. And then a team was here behind the scenes saying, okay, now what? Now women in cybersecurity that mostly have already been working in isolation are going to be work from home environment and have all these additional responsibilities and stressors on them. So our community needed us then more than ever. And so as an organization that is here to support the women in cybersecurity community, of course we had to launch into a virtual platform. I think back now and I'm like, wow, how did we do it in 5.5 weeks? But I think it was the adrenaline of all things changing and shifting. And so we had to ebb, shift, and flow just like society did. And so we canceled the 2020 conference on March 5th. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It will be forever etched in our memory. And on April 15th, we launched into a WiCyS Virtual 20. So we're really proud. We had over 1,200 attendees. We had 22 presentations, 8 socials, 7 keynotes, 2 CTF live coaching sessions, a career fair with over 70 sponsors that were there, and our hashtag within 2 days reached like 8 million. So I think because we were so embraced by the community, and that was the success of the actual virtual event. And from that event itself, we did get a lot of recognition because we went into that virtual space so quickly that we were able to then develop a strategic plan of what WiCyS looks like during COVID times, and really launched ourselves into this international space because the barriers of in-person was removed from that. And then also we looked at these skill development training programs and what they would provide to our community during COVID times, and how that will build up their expertise, gain more experiences, build up their portfolios, all our members within our community, and what WiCyS as a nonprofit organization looks like from that point moving forward. So
Janelle, how did the event work out for the students last year? 2 of my kids are in college now, and mixed experiences, mixed feelings about online. This is a little bit different though, because it's an organization. It's something that they really look forward to. So tell us a little bit about last year, and I imagine that they're all very excited about returning to the real event this year.
Sure. I think the phrase, every cloud has a silver lining. And I think for us, the silver lining was that we could expand to more than just the students who were going to attend in person. So we had the virtual career fair as part of WiCyS V20. And so all of our student members could participate in that, not just the ones who were going to be present in Denver. As well, we had opened up all of those education sessions to, again, all of our student members. So while the students who were going to attend in person were certainly disappointed, I think the silver lining was that all of our student members now were opened up to the career fair and the educational opportunities and the CTF that we held. So yes, we were disappointed. We all were, but as Lynn mentioned, we were able to turn it into a virtual event and expand how many of our members could actually attend. So I think that was certainly the plus for students. And yes, We have many students who are excited to be offered a scholarship and able to attend the WiCyS 2021 and be, as we call it, hashtag stronger in 2021.
So, Janelle, I know that there's a lot that's packed into the conference. We can't, practically cover all of that now, but give us the highlights. Give us, a high-level overview of the conference agenda. And then I'm really curious to know, you talk about the silver lining. Is any of that virtual component carrying over to the event this year?
Sure. So the conference includes workshops, we have presentations, we have panel discussions, we have birds of a feather. We're going to have student meetups where our student chapters will meet up. We'll have our affiliate meetups. As far as the virtual components, we are going to do a virtual career fair. So we're planning a virtual career fair 2 weeks before the on-site conference, where we are going to invite all of our conference sponsors, and all of our conference attendees will have the ability to participate in that. And that is a new offering for us. And I'm really excited because what it's going to allow us to do is those conference sponsors can actually make connections with attendees and make plans to meet up with them so they can set up those interviews in advance. So that is the piece that we will have virtually. And then our plan is to broadcast the keynotes. So we'll make that a virtual component. So at this point, we're moving forward with an in-person, and those will be the 2 virtual components.
So, Janelle, the first time I spoke to Amberine, I learned about the conference, learned about the organization, and I never forgot the scholarships, the grants, the fellowship awards. I don't think a lot of people in our community know a whole lot about that. So I think it's important that you share exactly what WiCyS does in that area.
Absolutely. Scholarships is probably something that I know I personally and many of our group take a lot of pride in. So over half of our attendees will be attending on either a scholarship, a fellowship, or a grant. So let me explain about those. So our scholarships are for our students, and our students are all vetted. So we have a scholarship committee who looks at every applicant and selects those that will be able to attend. And our scholarship awardees pay only a scholarship registration fee of $40, very low amount, yet that their entire registration is paid. They're provided lodging, and that is paid for by our conference sponsors, is how we're able to afford that. And then this year we have fellowships as well. So we have a veteran fellowship. The veteran fellowship is also just pays a $40 registration fee, and they're able to then get their registration paid, as well as their lodging is provided, and they get a travel stipend as well. And then this year, for the first time, we're offering a BIPOC for our Black, Indigenous, and People of Color Fellowship. They're going to be provided their registration, their lodging, and a travel stipend. And again, they only pay a $40 registration fee. Then we have our faculty grant, where our faculty members can attend. They pay a reduced registration and they get lodging. And all of that is made possible by our sponsors. And as I said, over half of our attendees will be attending under one of those 4 projects. So either a scholarship, a fellowship, or a grant.
So Amberine, if you could just drill down and explain just any 1 or 2 sessions that you're familiar with so that the audience really has a good idea of like the construct of what's going on there when you're at WiCyS.
So, like for example, the workshops, we have a series of, I think we have around 16 workshops. It's a 1.5 day conference, 1 full day and another half day. So it starts the day before the full day. We do a series of pre-conference workshops, and these are all technical workshops. So, we can have, for example, workshop on malware analysis, reverse engineering, hacking, these are all coming from our community as they respond to the call for proposal. So the workshops are 2 hours, and at one time, 4 different workshops take place. And also that day, the day before the full conference, every year with another DoD grant, Tennessee Tech puts up a Gen Cyber Day for high school students, local high school students. So wherever the conference happens, we invite around 100 local high school girls and boys to take part in a day of cybersecurity activity that is sponsored by NSA and put together by Tennessee Tech. And then this year, we are actually doing a new thing, which is Senior Leadership Summit. So I know we have been hearing a lot of students, but students are only half of the audience. The other half are security professionals who are in the field. And WiCyS is also about supporting them, advancing them in their career. So we are doing a invited senior leadership summit for mid and senior level career security professionals that are in our community. So that will also happen that day, all day. And Janelle, can you talk about the uh, partners initiative that we have on that day?
Sure. So we'll also have a leadership summit that we invite our sponsors and partners to participate in, and that'll be from early morning until mid-afternoon. And that's a chance for our sponsors and partners to come together and talk about the things that are important to them. And so that's a component that we've added. We were planning to add in 2020, and now we'll add here in 2021.
It's amazing how the organization has spread. I mean, I cannot tell you how many people we talk to, and inevitably you come up. You just mentioned Amberine, NSA Gen Cyber. They're doing amazing things in the industry. Diane Janisek, who I'm sure you know very well, recently filmed with us. And, just another one of the WiCyS supporters. So, you're all over the place. I don't think people realize just how big this is.
I mean, we are all over the place, the Women in Cyber. This community is so strong, and, it's so supportive. I mean, I hope, I know, Steve, WiCyS for quite some time now, but you haven't been to WiCyS yet. Once you go, you will see the spirit of WiCyS there.
So, Lynn, let's talk a little bit about the industry support you have, because it's so broad, so deep, so many companies are behind you. Give us an idea of how that works, sponsorships, and I'm curious, are there even still sponsorships available for 2021?
Yeah, our industry support is really the foundation of all things of WiCyS. When we started as a nonprofit organization in 2018, it was those strategic partners that came to us that said, that the cybersecurity workforce shortage is a critical piece right now, and they want to support the efforts and endeavors of the nonprofit organization, making an impact on that. And so there's been a couple of ways that others can partner with us, and that's through that strategic partner piece, and that's the year-round benefits of all things of WiCyS organization. And then, of course, the conference sponsorship. So the conference sponsorship is still available right now, and sponsors come to us for many different reasons. Of course, to support the cybersecurity workforce and the impact that is making by participating and being recognized with the WiCyS organization. But in addition to that, it's a technical conference. So part of the conference sponsorship is those supporters sending their teams, their females on their cybersecurity teams, for their professional development piece. Of course, with that comes the opportunity for them to mentor in our career village, and then also, in addition to that, recruit from the talent from within the conference itself. So there's many different conference benefits, and it's all available on our website under the WiCyS 2021 conference sponsorship piece.
So, Amberine and Janelle, we're here mainly to talk about the conference, but I do want to just ask the two of you a question about some research that we've been doing, and we've been following this very closely for the past few years. If you go back to 2012, 2013, the representation of women in cybersecurity, and this is globally, was about 10%. And it slowly but surely grew. I think WiCyS has had a big impact. There's been a lot of industry initiatives. The last time we put out a report was the end of 2018, looking into 2019, and we had moved up to about 20%. We just recently put out another piece of research ahead of the WiCyS conference, but we're holding the report back. Nobody's going to get to see it until the conference, and that's where we're going to release it. But we're estimating the figure now is about 25%. So two questions for you. One, are you happy to see us moving in that direction, making some progress? And two, what do we need to do to get where we really belong, which is 50%?
Sure. Of course, we're happy to see progress. Would I like to see more progress? Absolutely. I think what has made WiCyS successful is the community. It is the community that makes this organization strong. And I think that's what it will take to continue. It's a strong community of advocates and allies. I think we will need to continue that support. I think it is the organizations that truly believe in diversity and inclusion, and not just those that want to check off a box. And I think that's the other piece that has made WiCyS successful, are those organizations. And I think it's everyone working together towards that. And so it's the community of people that are entry level, younger professionals, younger students can see role models, can have mentors. That's what WiCyS is, a community of people who can see each other, can see the future. The future can help the younger generation. And then those organizations that are helping support it that truly believe in the diversity and inclusion.
So, Amberine, you've been a leader, I'm a follower, I'm behind you. I'd like to lead the way you do. What do we all need to do to move this towards 50%?
I think, it's a mindset thing. I think instead of thinking of, in this conference, we need to have a panel of women in cybersecurity. The mindset should be making sure that all the speakers, the stage is equally shared with all kinds of people, sizes, shapes, color, ethnicity, all types of diversity comparably, that you don't have to have dedicated session for highlighting them. It should be natural. It should be integrated in the design process, the balance of diversity and harmony. And, I always say that, don't think of us as women in cybersecurity, but think of us as cybersecurity professionals who happen to be women. And our hashtag of this organization is, one of our hashtag is see her as equal. I think once we do that, once everyone does that, it will be very natural.
For anybody who doesn't know, and I hope a lot of people know, I know a lot of people do know, but for anyone who doesn't, Amberine was named the cybersecurity person, not woman, but person of the year for 2020. To your point, Amberine, and that's how we look at you. You're amazing, a great accomplishment, and it's because of your leadership in the industry. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, but you know that behind every person there is a whole crew.
Yes. I do know that. So, Lynn, to wrap things up here, it was really great to have the three of you. As the executive director there, an important position alongside Amberine and Janelle. Any final words for the community?
just reaching out to the community and letting them know that there's opportunity of growth everywhere, no matter where you're at in your career. So you're always ready to upskill, up level, and prepare for that next level of advancement. Whether a student, professional, in the C-suite, WiCyS has a place for you. So I would encourage everyone to grow with us. If they're not a member, to become a member or to subscribe to our newsletter. Follow us all on social media. Just never miss a beat of all things of WiCyS. We are an extremely large organization that's growing at a rapid rate, but nothing but opportunity. Our mission is to recruit, retain, and advance women in cybersecurity, and we do so by creating opportunities. So we're always partnering and looking on launching new programs, and they come up very rapidly. So we'd want everyone just to follow us, stay connected, be involved, and join the WiCyS tribe.
And Janelle, just before we leave here, insofar as registration goes, I know this is a very difficult event to get into every year. It sells out every year. So, when does the window open and when does it close?
Registration opens on June 28th. Right now, we're still under a 6-foot social distancing at the hotel. By June 28th, we'll have to just determine what the social distancing rules are, and that will determine our capacity. So as far as when registration will close, it will close when we're at capacity. And as of today, we don't know what that capacity will be.
Right.
So,
and every year it sells out. There's only a certain amount of time that people actually have, right, to register.
Correct. We typically, in the last 5 years, we've sold out on the day we've opened because it is a very popular conference. So we'll open it up, but we've established it will be June 28th is the day we'll open. And then we will take a waiting list so that if we do have individuals who are unable to attend or things like that, or we can open up more capacity based on the social distancing changing, because we want to follow all guidelines, all CDC and government guidelines. We want to make sure all of our attendees are safe. But should things change and we can take more attendees, then we will have a wait list for that.
Okay. And the conference website is?
www.WiCyS.org. And then there's from there events. And from there you can go to the conference website. And Steve, I wanted to also mention we've already announced our 2022 conference, and that will be in Cleveland.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah. And it's, we're going back to our regular schedule is that we have our conferences in March. So we'll be following up in March of 2022 in Cleveland.
Amberine and Janelle, Lynn, thanks so much. I could stay here and, spend another hour talking to you, but then people wouldn't watch the video when they see how long it is. So we're going to wrap up, and we appreciate everything the three of you and the entire organization are doing.
Well, thank you for giving us time, and we are just very thankful for people like you and the community that supports us.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and editor-in-chief at Cybercrime magazine. Joining us today was Amberine Siraj, founder, Dr. Janelle Strock, chairman of the board, and Lynn Dome, executive director at WiCyS, a global community of women, male allies, and advocates dedicated to bringing talented women together to celebrate and foster their passion and drive for cybersecurity. To learn more about WiCyS, visit WiCyS.org. You can keep up with all of our media at cybercrimemagazine.com.